People think that I have enormous power. People think that I have the power to say yes to words that wish to enter the dictionary of the righteous, and the power to say no to words that will be banished to unspeakable darkness. Which is why I like to present the image of the dictionary editor as the woman with a mop and bucket who comes in to clean up after the party is over. I don't make the mess, you. The people who shape and share our language, you are the ones who make the mess. I just tidy up. I put interesting bits and pieces in the dictionary and I throw the rest out with the rubbish. But that is all I do. After a lifetime of such morning after excitements, I'm in a good position to judge the successes and failures of the language, particularly if the party was a lively one and the language police were called and the verbal miscreants were hauled off to the pedant's court, where their words were deemed to be frivolous or ephemeral or, shock horror, non-standard. The usage notes in the dictionary are little reminders of these excitements, and they show us that there is a generational shift going on in language. The pedant's court could well be asked to consider the case of the hoi polloi, who used to be the plebs, the masses, and who are now the rich and powerful, the high and mighty. Hoi polloi is Greek and means the many. It used to be said with a sneer, I don't mix with the hoi polloi. Now it is said with admiration, this is a classy venue. It must be frequented by the hoi polloi. Then the pedant's court could also be asked to consider the case of minuscule, spelt M-I-N-U-S-C-U-L-E, but now spelt M-I-N-I-S-C-U-L-E. We no longer see the Latin word minus, meaning less, in the word, but we line it up with the prefix mini, meaning small. Are you in agreement with that? In which case, you might find yourself at loggerheads with those who feel that the phrase should be in agreement with that, and that strictly speaking, there is no such word as agreeance. And what about the verb to verse, as in my team's versing your team next Saturday? The children arrived at this as a back formation from versus, but the children have grown up and the word is here to stay. And what about the pronunciation of worry, which used to rhyme with hurry? Have you noticed that it's shifting to worry to rhyme with sorry? Do you wince when people say dictionary rather than dictionary, or ceremony rather than ceremony? These are all problems of language change. And the role of the dictionary in this is to record the words that you use in the way in which you use them as accurately and faithfully and objectively as we can. But there are those who would like a little bit less objectivity. There are those who would like us not to put in swear words, taboo words, obscene words, racist words, derogatory words, vulgar words. They feel that if we don't put these words in the dictionary, people won't use them in real life. I'm glad you laughed. Not true, of course. The language gatekeepers, the teachers and the editors, the pedants with power, they would like us not to put in the dictionary common usage errors, such as use for the plural of you, or a lot spelt as one word. even if we can find lots of evidence for the use of these forms, and even if we write notes to say, pedants don't like these, they feel there should be no record of such blemishes. But the old idea of the dictionary as the compilation of what was best in the English language died with Dr. Samuel Johnson, who produced the first prestigious dictionary of the English language in 1755. And even as he aimed at this lofty goal, he knew it was impossible. Language moves on, he said sadly. The goal of the dictionary today is to have every word between its forward and its end matter, its log in and its log out. Every word with every meaning, every usage note, every label, every comment. We know that the worst thing that can happen to you as users of the dictionary is that you try to look up a word and get no result. So the race is on for lexicographers to get the newest of the new words. At the same time, the dictionary has to retain its authority and protect itself from the accusation that it is sensationalising the lexicon with frivolous coinages. Bromance. When it first appeared, it was thought to be a magazine invention, but it's proved to be surprisingly durable and went into the dictionary in 2008. There are more blokes having bromances than we realised. How do you feel about the following? Frankenbite, a contrived piece of dialogue in a reality TV program. Lookbook, an online portfolio of photos as put up by a fashion model. Mancation, men-only vacation. Computer game terms like permadeath and respawn. Colloquialisms like charity fuck. And the latest of these is dad bod. Stereotype of a male who's a bit of a slob, but all the more likeable for being so. All these words could be in the dictionary online by the end of the year. There used to be a restraint, a break on the dictionary process. Useful time would be spent looking for the evidence of the frequency of a word. But these days we can find evidence quite quickly. There used to be more rules about what was deemed appropriate to put in the dictionary. But really, this was about a limited number of pages in a printed book where you had to make choices. Online, there's no problem with space. There used to be areas of language that were thought impossible to capture. We'd have some well-worn slang in the dictionary, but last year's, no way. Now it's only too easy to access current slang. So the emphasis now is on establishing currency in the community or a section of the community, and then writing the most accurate description of the word that we can. Currency is still the bedrock of the dictionary. There is much that happens in language that the dictionary does not record. Poets. We stay clear of them. They put their words together in all sorts of combinations that are highly unusual, and they give their words colour that they don't normally have. Judith Wright wrote, "I praise the scoring drought, the flying dust, the drying creek." Flying dust and drying creek are fine. Scoring drought. This is a figurative use of the word to score, meaning to make a mark or notch in something. Very effective, but one off in this poem as far as I could see. I did Google scoring drought, but I found footballers who found it hard to get goals. Les Murray talks about knee-sprung pasture and about sleeping just out beyond dust throw of the road. But knee-sprung and dust throw are not words that will go in the dictionary. We avoid family coinages, those cute little words that children make up when the real word is too long or too difficult. So biscotti is a good example. Often they become family favourites. Biscotti is not in the dictionary, but haggle and choo-choo are in the dictionary because they achieved a kind of general currency used humorously. But these are the rare items that float to the surface of this sea of invention. So the dictionary is a distillation of the amazing possibilities of the English language, but one with more scope than it has had in the past. It's not just a question of having more room, more space online, but it is a revolution in our attitude to the dictionary since the days of Dr. Johnson, pushed on by the transfer to the digital world. The dictionary has power and excites great passion. When you look up a word in the dictionary, you're seeking a validation of the legitimacy of your word or spelling or pronunciation or usage, the word of your choice. What you get is confirmation that your choice lines up with the choices of the language community as a whole. You do not get divine authority. If you wish to do the Humpty Dumpty thing, he said to Alice, that the words that he used meant what he wanted them to mean, not what most people thought they meant. You risk non-comprehension and the wrath of the gatekeepers, but you will not be struck down from on high if you choose to pursue your own language choices. The dictionary has the power to make the language visible to the community that uses it. You can get a grip, so to speak, on Australian English by flicking through the pages of the Macquarie Dictionary. And this is why we wave it around as a rather bulky national flag and why we all feel that we have so much invested in it. The dictionary has power, as does the language community that creates the dictionary. My job is to serve them both faithfully. Pass me my mop and bucket, please. Thank you. Thank you.